Welcome to Envy's Donut, a podcast about everything, anything, and nothing in between.
Hello, friends. Welcome to another episode. Our guest tonight is myself, and I'm going to talk to you about community. There's a funny story I was thinking when I was surprised by the way Reddit community reacted to one of my questions, because I underestimated the power of community again. I did it before. I always do that. I underestimate how others react, and I think everybody's selfish, and I've been proven wrong a few times now, but I'm still making the same mistake, and I'm not having enough confidence in our human race, in our people, in the human beings around us. So what I did, I just asked the question and a poll as well, asking about if I should publish one of my episodes or not, because I thought it wasn't very interesting, and I expected a few people to answer, or basically I was expecting a few people to vote, because everybody knows, everybody loves a poll. So I knew people would be tempted to just press the vote button. So I expected a few people to vote. I expected even one or two person to leave a message saying, man, just get a life, or stop asking stupid questions in here. But to my surprise, a lot of people voted. I think it was close to 300 votes in 2 days. So that was just amazing. I didn't expect that. But the most unusual thing that happened was that people actually commented on my question and they offered me advice. So I was pleasantly surprised by that. And not a single hate comment, not a single one. That was the biggest surprise, to be honest. I don't know why I'm saying that I have no faith in community in general, but I think I'm guiding my thinking on my principle, saying that expect the worst and be prepared to be pleasantly surprised. And yeah, I think that's what I'm doing all the time. I'm just expecting the worst in people, even though I'm an optimist. And then coming back from work one day, I was thinking I should tell you a story about the community when it really matters. With small things, probably people won't jump to show their support, and they won't help people that might not need their help. But then in really important situations, maybe when it's most needed, like in a disaster or in a war or in a crisis, people just tend to get together and help. That's amazing. It always surprises me. It's not surprising me. It's always comforts me and gives me a warmth, and I feel really good that we are humans and we are helping each other. That's why when you see that in movies, it's always an emotional scene. Situations that are bringing people together, they always make me emotional. Well, let's go back to the story I wanted to tell you about. Well, it was many, many years ago when I was back in Romania, and the equivalent 999 service in the UK was introduced in Romania as well as 112. So an emergency number to cover ambulances, firefighters, police. It was at the beginning of the introduction of this number. So not I don't think they were organized enough, and they didn't know how to use the number. I'm talking about the authorities, so the people receiving the calls for emergencies. It was late in the evening, and I was leaving my hometown to go someplace else. So I was living in my car, but then I decided to do a detour basically. So I went through the back of some blocks of flats in my hometown, and I noticed a fire in the back garden of one of these blocks. People in Romania have some type of communal gardens where they keep their uh, firewood, their bicycles, their different things that they don't go in the flats. Some of them, I think they even have chickens and other things like that. And people make barbecues in their gardens as well. And these gardens, they usually have like a tall fence, wooden fence, so you can't actually see what's going on inside. So I was passing that evening with my wife going to my in-laws, I think, and I've noticed a fire. It was quite high, so I can see it from the street basically, even though the fence was quite high. So I thought maybe somebody's doing a barbecue and they left it unattended and they left and it went a little bit out of control. But I didn't know what happened. It worried me in that moment, so I decided to shout at the people around, thinking that they are just around the fire and they didn't notice it, or they're just popping to the building to bring the meat, or I don't know, to bring something out. So I decided to shout at them, "Hey, there's a fire. Hey, is anybody around here?" Or, things like that. First, in a lower tone. I didn't want to scare anyone. But then, when nobody answered, I started to shout really, really loud and say, "Fire, fire, fire." Nobody seemed to be interested in that. So I took my mobile phone, I rang 112, this emergency number that's just been introduced in Romania. And, I was trying to get in touch with firefighters or somebody to, make them aware that there's a fire and there's a building next to it. And obviously there was other houses around. It was like in the neighborhood. It wasn't in the middle of nowhere or anything like that. There were cars around, there were trees, and obviously houses and the block of flats. And I rang this 112 number, and somebody in Bucharest, well, in the capital. I wasn't in the capital, I was in a provincial small town, like 200 kilometers away from the capital. Somebody answered my call, and they asked me what was the problem. And I said, well, there's a fire here and I'm trying to make people aware. While I was on the phone with this guy, I was using the horn of the car and shouting at people, "Fire, fire, get out, fire," or something like that. I can't remember. And I was keep pressing the horn of my car to make people aware that this fire was happening. So this guy was asking me all sorts of questions while I was shouting and ringing the horn of the car. And he was asking me, well, what type of fire, what things are around the fire, where am I, what's my name, things like that, all sorts of questions. And then after he finished his questions and I gave him my answers, the best knowledge I had, I had no idea what type of materials were burning under the fire. I didn't know if could have been wood, could have been something else. I didn't know. So I described it the best I could while I was, shouting at people. And my wife was helping as well. A few people gathered and they tried to move a car that was near the fire. But nothing else happened. And this guy, at the end of his questions, he just said, "Oh, I'll pass you to the regional fire department." Well, I was a little bit surprised. Said, "Oh, all right." So he passed me through the next guy, and the next guy asked me the same questions. I was still beeping and shouting at people, "Fire, fire." Nothing was happening. I was terrified. The fire was getting bigger and bigger, and I think he was getting to a tree that was nearby, and the branches were starting to, feel the heat of the fire below. And this guy was asking me the same questions. Where am I? What's my name? What am I doing? What type of fire there is there? What's burning? What's around the fire? And he was saying, "Oh, yeah, yeah, keep doing what you're doing. Yeah, shout at people, ring your horn, do all that." Well, yeah, but I need some firefighters. I was thinking. And then after this guy finished his questions, he said, "Oh, I'll pass you over to your local fire department." I said, "What?" I was fuming. I almost wanted to put the phone down, but I still needed firefighters because nobody was doing anything. But then, while I was talking to this guy, the third guy, something miraculously happened. Something so powerful. I still feel the emotions that I felt back then. People from all over just started to emerge from their houses and from the flats with buckets of water, and they were just it was unbelievable. People just made like human chains, and like they were like in lines, a few lines of people passing buckets of water from one to another, and then they will throw it on the fire. There were people in the flats above the fire, and they were throwing buckets of water from their flats high in the building. It was unbelievable. In a couple of minutes, they managed to put the fire down. It was unbelievable. And I was still talking to this guy on the phone, trying to get the firefighters to show up. And in the end, I said, "Look, man, you don't need to send anyone. The fire is over. People just put it down, so everything is all right." And then in the end, it was all right. Nobody was hurt. No properties burned down. I felt so amazing. I felt so good being part of this community, being part of that community where people just gathered around. And all this time I was thinking nobody's doing anything and nobody's acting, and I was all by myself just ringing my horn and shouting fire. And I thought, unbelievable. And I was talking to these guys on the phone. I was trying to get somebody to help, to get some firefighters, the professionals, to come and put the fire down. All this time, the people were just in their houses, getting buckets and filling them with water. It was just amazing. I'm still emotional even now thinking of it. It was such an unbelievable feeling. That's why it was even more powerful, because I thought nobody's doing anything and nobody cares, while these people were just trying to move as fast as they could and to help. And when everybody was ready, they were just out all at once with their buckets of water, putting the fire down and helping each other and working with each other in a communal effort. It was unbelievable. So that's why I'm always I'm always surprised how people come together and how people help each other. When we lose faith in our communities, in our humanity, people tend to come together and prove us wrong or prove us right, that there is hope and we are humans, and it's something that a robot can never learn to be. Yes, so that was my story. That's my story about community, and yeah, it's a good story, and it was a really good experience for me. It was an unbelievable experience, and it's gonna be with me forever. It's gonna be with me till till I'm till I die. It's gonna be there, and it will help me understand, and it will help me restore my faith in human race every time when I'm doubting it. Yes, we are together. We are humans, and we can pull together in time of crisis. So there is hope. Thank you guys for listening. See you next time. Bye.